Hey, it's Dr. J. Happy Friday. I was recently at an event, and I know that this was the third year, and I have the pleasure of knowing the organizer of the event and just kind of how the process has evolved over the last couple of years. And I started thinking, she called and we talked afterwards, and she said, "So, what do you think? Is there anything we can do better?" And it triggered a thought for me. I've planned at the end of each year a celebration for our students in a particular program. And I remember year one, and yeah, I remember year one, which was good. It was very, very scary, but I saw it. I saw it in advance, and I saw what the event was supposed to be and become. And so then I remember year two, and after year two, we had moved, the event had grown. So I think we had moved to a different location. And also remember all of the criticism or the constructive critiques as they usually present themselves to you about how you can and should consider and what to do next and what was good and what wasn't good. Whether you ask or not, you get the critiques and the perspectives. And they weren't the best, but I still saw and understood where I was headed with the particular event, the intent of the event for students and their families, and the importance of it for community and for our partners who collaborate with us. And so I dismissed 99% of the constructive critiques. I dismissed this was too long, you should have done that, this could have been done better. And I stayed focused on the intent with the idea of after each year, there's an opportunity for individual reflection, but the reflection and the changes are contingent upon the vision that has been set for the event, not for the spectators or the people who attend. And I'm not saying that all criticism and feedback is bad, or in my particular case was bad. But just like I kind of repelled and refused to take in a lot of this is what you can do, I also repelled and refused to take in oh my God, this was the best event ever. So here's what I'll say: you have to find where your space is. You've got to find how many iterations of a particular activity, whether it's at home, whether it's with our kids, whether it's with our employer, whether it is with community activities, how the iterations work for you. The way that you become not swayed by all of the external input and critiques and perspectives and accolades is recognizing where you're headed and why you're doing what you're doing. When you do that, you chart the path slow and steady, slow and steady. And you also release yourself from this idea that everything has to be perfect, because it doesn't. It has to get done. It has to be done with the right intent. It has to honor the impact that it is supposed to make. But perfection is so crippling. And so by the time we try to figure out how to make all the things good for all the external conversations, we lose sight of why we're doing what we're doing. Mine typically shows up after year three. I find the flow. I make a ton of mistakes along the way. And even in year four and year five, should it exist, there will still be some more mistakes. But usually around year three for me, or iteration three, or practice three, or trial three, usually by the time I go through the third time, the third cycle, then I'm like, okay, I have a better understanding, and now I'm able to receive some of the perspectives of others. But the way you do that is make sure that you have a vision and an intent in where you are going and what the outcome could and should be. Don't aim for perfection. Don't aim for people pleasing. aim to make sure that we meet the intent of the activity and the anticipated outcomes. And for me, that's celebrating students in that particular event. And so when I think about all the things that we do for the end of the year celebration, it is 1000% about students and 0% about adults. Which means that the music is geared towards the students, the attire is geared towards the students, the energy is geared towards the students. It is not geared towards the people who look like me, who sound like me, who are my age. And so when I think about and I reflect about year 3 of this fundraising event, it was good. Yep, there's always things that we can tweak, modify, improve, but by and large, the goal, the intent, and the steadfastness of the executive director worked well. And that is what we buy into. We buy into the authenticity of the person who was doing the thing. So figure out what your cycle is where you can settle in and find the flow and stay true to that. Don't move from that. Trust yourself and release yourself from this idea that it always has to be perfect. All right, it's Dr. J. Have a great weekend. It's beautiful outside. I'm going to go and catch some sun. I will see y'all and talk to y'all later. Bye. Thank you for listening too, by the way.